The moment you stop trying to control your team is the moment that they start following you with genuine enthusiasm instead of polite confidence. It's like watching people transform from corporate robots into actual humans with ideas, initiative, and brace yourself, the audacity to solve problems without asking your permission first. I'm Dr. Cara, and if Monday's episode on conquering control obsession had you thinking, okay, this sounds great in theory, but what happens when my world is literally on fire? Today, we're going to go full stress test mode. We're exploring the pivot point, that magical moment when releasing control transforms into extraordinary connection. And yes, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this when your carefully crafted plans meet reality and have what I like to call an unfortunate collision. On Monday, we explored the pivot process, how to receive, perceive, and respond instead of trying to control outcomes like some kind of organizational puppet master. We discovered that 90% of leadership effectiveness comes from emotional intelligence, not having the most detailed project plan in the history of project plans. I know you may be thinking, this sounds fantastic when I'm sitting in my office with my coffee, but what about when my team misses a critical deadline? When stakeholders are demanding answers that I don't have? When I feel like I'm juggling flaming chainsaws or riding a unicycle? Trust me, I get it. Last month, a client asked me, Dr. Cara, does this pivot stuff work when everything is falling apart? Or is this just feel-good leadership for people who work in mediation centers? It was a fair question. The answer is, this framework isn't just for calm moments. It's specifically designed for chaos. Today, we're moving from understanding the pivot process to mastering it under pressure. From knowing you should let go of control to actually building the kind of influence that makes people want to run through walls for you, or at the least show up to meetings on time. Before I show you exactly how to implement pivot-based leadership when your world is exploding, you need to understand the science behind why this works, especially under pressure. Research from organizational behavior experts has identified what we call the control connection paradox. Here's what this looks like in real life. The more leaders try to control outcomes during crises, the less connected they become to their team's actual capabilities. It's like trying to conduct an orchestra by grabbing the instruments instead of guiding the musicians. Dr. Edgar Schein, in his landmark work, Organizational Culture and Leadership, found through decades of organizational study that high control leaders create what he calls defensive routines during stressful periods. Your team stops focusing on solving problems and starts focusing on avoiding your reactions. They spend more mental energy managing up than they do managing the actual crisis. Here's the fascinating part. Research in neuroscience shows that when team members feel controlled during high stress situations, their brains activate threat detection systems. Studies on cognitive load and stress response indicate that this can significantly reduce creative problem-solving capacity. You're not just micromanaging, you're accidentally lobotomizing your team's best thinking. Here's where it gets exciting. Research on leadership effectiveness shows that when leaders master the pivot from control to connection during pressure situations, their teams demonstrate significantly higher engagement, faster problem solving, and fewer unproductive crisis meetings. Studies on organizational trust and performance indicate that companies with high trust, low control leadership cultures don't just weather storms better, they use storms to innovate. Research shows these organizations demonstrate stronger revenue growth during challenging periods and better talent retention when facing difficulties. And what really blew my mind is when you stop controlling and start connecting during crisis, you don't lose influence. You become magnetic. Your team stops doing things because they have to and start doing things because they genuinely are invested in the outcome. That's the difference between compliance and commitment, between surviving chaos and thriving in it. Let Let me share about the moment I truly understood this transformation and nearly destroyed a relationship with my best client in the process. I was working with a healthcare administrator. I'll call her Sarah. She was brilliant, driven, and drowning in what I call control quicksand. Sarah was working 70-hour weeks, personally approving every decision down to office supply orders. Her team of incredibly talented professionals had essentially become highly paid order takers, and they stopped taking initiative, stopped proposing solutions, and stopped thinking strategically. Innovation had flatlined, and turnover was climbing faster than healthcare costs. When we started working together, Sarah's first response was a classic control obsession. But Dr. Cara, if I can't manage these outcomes personally, how do I ensure quality? How do I know things won't fall apart? My reputation is on the line. She was trapped in the control paradox, believing that her death grip was holding everything together when it was actually strangling her team's potential. So we implemented the pivot process, starting with what I call control releases, small experiments in letting go. First, Sarah started receiving the full picture instead of just the problems. She began really listening to her team's capabilities instead of just their task completion status. Then came the breakthrough perception. Sarah realized her control wasn't creating better outcomes. It was creating learned helplessness. Her team had stopped thinking strategically because she was doing all the strategic thinking for them. They weren't incompetent. They were undertrained in independence because she had been solving their problems for them. Finally, she learned to respond with what I call empowering questions instead of controlling directives. Instead of, here's exactly how to handle this situation, she started with, what approach do you recommend? What factors are you considering? What support do you need from me? Within a couple of months, everything transformed. Her team started bringing solutions instead of problems. Decision-making accelerated significantly. Innovation returned. They implemented 3 process improvements Sarah would have never thought of. Sarah reduced her working hours from 70 to 45 a week while achieving substantially better outcomes. Here's what shocked Sarah most. She didn't lose control. She gained influence that was exponentially more powerful. Her team started following her more enthusiastically because they felt trusted, valued, and intellectually engaged. The pivot from control to connection multiplied her leadership impact in ways that micromanagement never could. Let me give you the exact framework that Sarah used to transform control obsession into connection mastery. This is your advanced pivot implementation toolkit, the Delegation Revolution framework. Most leaders think delegation means giving tasks to people while maintaining control over how they do them. But connected leadership delegation means empowering capability development while maintaining clarity on outcomes. Control-obsessed delegation. Here's my 47-step process on how to do it. Check with me before breathing differently. I'll be monitoring your keyboard activity. Connection-based delegation. I'm giving you this project because I trust your judgment and I want to see your approach. Here's the outcome we need and why it matters. What's your strategy? What support would be more helpful for you? For the next 2 weeks, use this delegation protocol. Define the outcome, not the process. We need to reduce patient wait times by 20% instead of send these emails at these exact times using this specific template that I created at 3 a.m. 2, ask for strategy first. Walk me through your approach instead of, here's exactly how I would do it if I had time. 3, identify what support needs. What resources would help you succeed? Instead of, I'll check on this every 3.7 minutes. 4, set check-in points, not check-up points. Let's review progress Friday instead of report every micro decision to me immediately. The empowerment question arsenal. Replace control statements with empowerment questions. Here's your exact script for transformation. Instead of, that approach won't work because, ask, help me understand your thinking behind this strategy. Instead of, You need to do it this way. Ask, what factors are you weighing in your approach? Instead of, I don't think you should, ask, what are the pros and cons you're considering? Instead of, let me just handle this, ask, what would help you feel confident tackling this yourself? Instead of, this isn't right, ask, what outcome are you aiming for? And how does this get us there? The trust building acceleration process. Trust isn't built through control. It's built through demonstrated confidence in others' capabilities. Here's your 30-day trust acceleration plan with specific weekly goals. Week 1, the approval audit. Identify 3 decisions that you currently approve that team members could make independently. Example, meeting schedules, routine vendor communication, standard process adjustments. Let them make these decisions without pre-approval. Track the outcomes. Week 2, the solution shift. Find 2 problems that you typically solve and instead ask, what solutions do you see here? What would you try first? Let them implement their solutions. Resist the urge to improve their approach unless it's genuinely problematic. Week 3, the process liberation. Choose one area where you provide detailed step-by-step instructions and instead give only the outcome goal. Let them design the process. You might be amazed by their innovations. Week 4, the reverse reporting revolution. Implement reverse reporting. Instead of them reporting to you, ask, what information would be helpful for you to have from me? What obstacles can I remove? How can I better support your success? The connection feedback revolution. Transform feedback from evaluation to development using the Grow Connect model. The goal is, what outcome are you working toward with this project? Reality, what's working well so far? What obstacles are you encountering? Options, what approaches do you see for moving forward? What alternatives have you considered? The way forward, what's the next step? How can I best support that direction? This approach positions you as a thinking partner instead of a judge. It develops their problem-solving capacity instead of creating dependence on your solutions. Plus, you'll be shocked by how often their ideas are better than yours. Let me show you exactly how the pivot process looks in the leadership situations that keep you awake at night. Scenario 1, the project crisis. Your biggest project is behind schedule. The client is asking pointed questions, and your team lead just told you that there are some challenges they are working through. A controlled, obsessed response would be, this project is behind schedule and I need answers. I want daily reports on every task, approval of all decisions moving forward, and a detailed recovery plan on my desk by tomorrow morning. A connection-based response would be, I see we're facing some challenges with timelines. Help me understand what's happening. What obstacles are slowing progress? What adjustment to resources or timelines would help you succeed? How can I support you in getting back on track? Scenario 2, the quality concern. Work comes back that doesn't meet your standards, and your first instinct is to redo it yourself. The control, obsessed response. This work doesn't meet our standards. Let me show you exactly how it should be done. Going forward, I need to review everything before it goes out. Connection-based response. I want to ensure that we are hitting our quality marks. Walk me through the process on this. What quality measures are you using? Where do you see opportunities for improvement? What support would help you deliver your best work? Scenario 3, the innovation challenge. You need fresh thinking on a persistent problem, but you're tempted to just implement your own solution. The control obsessed response. We need to solve this problem. I've researched 3 options and think option 2 is the best bet. Please implement this approach. Connection-based response. We need fresh thinking on this challenge. What innovative approaches do you see? What would success look like from your perspective? What would you need to test your best ideas. Saturday, we're bringing everything together in our Solutions Saturday finale. We'll integrate all three pillars: know your worth, embody grace, and conquer control into your complete connected leadership mastery system. I'll answer the most common implementation questions, show you how to troubleshoot when the framework feels challenging, and give you your 90-day transformation roadmap. Plus, we'll have an interactive element where I will address real-world complexities that you're facing right now. Between now and Saturday, practice the empowerment question arsenal. Every time you feel the urge to control or direct, pivot to an empowering question instead. Your team will notice the shift immediately, and you might be surprised by the quality of solutions that they generate. Remember, the only control you have is how you receive, perceive, and respond. When you pivot from controlling outcomes to connecting with people, you don't lose influence. You multiply it exponentially. You become the leader people choose to follow, not just the one they have to. If this episode showed you a new way to build influence through connection, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and share this video with a leader who's ready to stop exhausting themselves with control and start energizing their team with connection. And remember, leadership isn't about walking the tightrope perfectly. It's about finding grace in the sway. When you master the pivot from control to connection, you become the leader who doesn't just manage teams. You inspire them to achieve results that they never thought were possible. I'll see you Saturday for our Solutions Saturday integration, where we'll put it all together into your personalized, connected leadership game plan. Until then, pivot from control to connection. Your team's potential is waiting for you to unlock it.